What is up, guys? We are back with another video, and today, of course, we are checking out the RTX 3080. More specifically, MSI's RTX 3080 Gaming X Trio. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing I wanted to talk about were specs on the RTX 3080 in general. We have quite the upgrade over the RTX 2080 Super that launched just over a year ago. So the RTX 2080 Super had 3072 CUDA cores, 272 Tensor cores, 48 RT cores, and 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. Now the RTX 3080 has 8704 CUDA cores, 272 Tensor cores, 68 RT cores, and 10 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. Now let's get to the card, of course, we're reviewing today, which is MSI's Gaming X Trio. First off, this card is factory overclocked. So it has a GPU boost speed of 1815 megahertz. That is a slight bump over the factory speed or the reference speed of the RTX 3080. That GPU boost speed is only 1710 megahertz. The first thing that you notice about this card is just how big it is. It is a very large card. It's 323 millimeters long. So it's something to keep in mind. A lot of these mini ITX systems only support 300 millimeters. So 323 is of course above that. So you want to make sure your case can of course support this card. Also, if we look at it this way, you can see that we're about, I would say this is almost 3 slot, 2.7 slot card. So again, smaller systems that may only support 2 slot. If it doesn't support more than 2 slot width-wise or height-wise, then you might run into issues there. Moving on to the cooling solution, we have a pretty beefy cooling solution. This is MSI's Tri-Frozer 2.0. So this is a triple fan cooling solution, as you guys can see. And these are the new Torx 4.0 fans from MSI. I'm not gonna go over all the crazy things, but the cool thing about these fans is that there's an outer ring that combines on 2 of the blades. So the actual 2 blades are connected, and the reason for that is that it pushes more air down into the cooling solution. We actually saw this on ASUS's ROG Strix cards in their 20 series with a full ring that goes around the entire fan. MSI has done something similar, but just connecting the blades together. So that is supposed to provide 30% more cooling efficiency on each fan. So a really awesome cooling solution with the new upgraded fans. You also have a very beefy heatsink. So you have dual heat sinks, one of course for your GPU and memory itself, and then your other for your power delivery components. These are connected by a very large heat pipe. And then when we turn over to the back of the card, we of course have this full cover backplate. It is not metal, it's graphene, which is sort of like this metal, I wouldn't call it metal, but basically what it does is it conducts heat better than say like ABS plastic would. I'm not sure if I'm sold on it just yet because I prefer metal back here, but if this allows the card to be lighter and of course has the same cooling properties as say metal would, I definitely like that. Of course we have the MSI logo, GeForce GTX right there. And as far as RGB lighting goes on the card, we have some accents here on the shroud. We have 2 little accents that are kind of around the middle fan. We have the MSI logo that lights up nice and bright. And then we have this sort of RGB strip. What's nice about this RGB strip is we didn't really get to test it in a system, but this RGB strip is gonna be incredibly bright, and it's really going to, we tested on a test bench, but if you have this in a case, it's really gonna light up the inside of that case, which I like. As far as expansion slots, you have, of course, the default, which is 3 DisplayPort and a single HDMI. Now it's time to move on to testing. Here are the specs for our graphics card test bench. All right, guys, so to close things out, let's first talk about the RTX 3080 in general, and then of course, we'll get to the card from MSI. Now with this launch, I think NVIDIA has done two things incredibly well. The first thing is their pricing on the card. You know, with the 20 series, when it was launched, we got introduced to very expensive pricing for graphics cards. That meant that less people could afford to either upgrade their graphics card and less people could afford to build a new PC with a new 20 series NVIDIA graphics card. And with the 30 series, we kind of expected the same. We expected high prices and all of that. But we're getting pricing that is very good for the consumer. Of course, we're living in a world now where a lot more people are at home. A lot more people are spending less money, so it kind of makes sense for NVIDIA to lower the pricing. Also, in all honesty, I don't think the 20 series sold like NVIDIA wanted it to. So lowering the pricing and getting pricing kind of more on par for more people to get the cards is a really good thing. So you can pick up a Founders Edition for $699, which is the exact same price as the RTX 2080 Super launched just a year ago. So that is really impressive. Getting the cards in the hands of more people is something that I applaud NVIDIA for. And again, they don't have to do it because at least right now, when this video comes out, there's no competition on the high end whatsoever. The next big thing is performance. And with performance, we saw awesome performance with the RTX 3080. With the 20 series, we didn't see like this crazy performance that you thought the 20 series would be, but we do have it here with the 30 series. In our testing, almost all of our games were over 100 FPS at 4K. That is with the settings turned pretty much all the way up on all of those titles. So that in itself is very impressive. Now, if you're looking at performance compared to previous generation, at 4K, the 3080 is about 38% faster than the 2080 and about 49% faster than the 1080 Ti. So for all those people who kept their 10 series and haven't upgraded yet, it's now time to upgrade if you're gaming in 4K because you're gonna get, you know, about 2 times the performance there, which is really, really impressive. This is also a card not only just for 4K gaming, but if you want a game in super high frame rate. So we've seen, you know, MSI and I believe Asus have announced 360 hertz monitors. So if you're a pro gamer, you know, you're an esports player and you want to take advantage of that super high frame rate, this is a card that can obviously push that. So the performance is there. The performance is basically what NVIDIA had told us. So that is really good to see there. On top of performance, you're also going to get things like real-time ray tracing, RTX, and DLSS. When the 20 series launched, I believe there was one game that supported RTX, which was Battlefield 5. Nobody cared. It wasn't a big deal to a lot of people. And then on top of that, of course, when we tested it, you took such a performance hit when you turned RTX on that it was not worth turning on at any resolution. It just wasn't. Now we have more RT cores in the 3080, so the performance hit isn't nearly even close to as bad as what you're getting, which is really good. We want to see games that are beautiful. We want to play games that are beautiful. And to actually be able to turn ray tracing on and not have the game run at like 30 FPS is awesome. So we have that with the 3080 here. And then you have DLSS. And DLSS basically will render the game at a lower resolution and then upscale to whatever resolution that you're running. This allows you to get more FPS out of that game. Again, it's whatever games support it, but so many games do support it now. So that's gonna help you get more FPS out of this card. On top of that, if you have a game that supports both RTX and DLSS and you turn them on at the same time, there's basically no hit. There's no performance hit, so you can play the game beautifully with no performance hit whatsoever. The games that support RTX are continuing to grow. Of course, we saw the big announcement with Fortnite and of course Minecraft and RTX, and all of the other games that are available now with RTX and DLSS. So again, that's something that NVIDIA offers that of course AMD does not, at least not currently. And then you have other tools that we didn't even talk about in this review at all, like NVIDIA Broadcast, which brings in RTX voice, and then it has some really cool video things. Of course, that's all made possible because of the hardware that's in the RTX 3080. So just all of that together just makes this so much more compelling than first gen RTX. And that brings us to this card, of course, which is MSI's Gaming X Trio. There is a bunch of aftermarket cards that are launching today. This, of course, is one of them. And this sits, at least right now, as MSI's flagship RTX 3080. So what they've done, of course, you have that factory overclock. And that factory overclock is going to give you a few more FPS in games, which of course is nice to see. And it's, of course, it's just better than a reference card. You also have this awesome big custom cooling solution. This is their Tri-Frozer 2.0. We already talked about the fans, but the one thing I really wanted to mention is how quiet this cooler is. In our testing, it's actually quieter than a lot of the cards that we have that have two fans, which is really impressive. We have the RGB lighting that we talked about. I like it. It's not crazy RGB, it's just enough. I kind of like that. And then we have the full cover backplate. It is not metal, it's the graphene that we talked about. And that's basically it. Like I said, it's just a really good aftermarket card. You're not gonna get that custom 12 pin that is an NVIDIA only thing, at least for right now. So you have 3 PCI Express power connections there. So that is basically it for this card. MSI is putting a $49 premium on it. So it's $749.99. I think with the overclock, the custom cooling solution, how quiet it is, I think that that price is very justified. So if you have any questions about this card specifically or the RTX 3080, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. We'll of course have links to this card, where you can pick it up. I know quantities are gonna be limited, so try to get those as soon as they pop up. And we'll have links to our full written review, which goes into even more detail than what we kind of showed you here. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. And if you enjoy our tech content, go ahead and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video.